Moses is one of the most important figures in religious history and is deeply respected in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Known as a prophet, leader, teacher, and lawgiver, Moses played a central role in guiding the Israelites from slavery to freedom and establishing a covenant between God and his people. His life story, filled with courage, faith, perseverance, and devotion to divine guidance, has inspired generations across cultures and centuries. For many believers, Moses represents the power of faith and the responsibility of leadership guided by moral conviction. Moses was born during a difficult and dangerous time for the Israelites in Egypt. According to biblical tradition, the Israelites had multiplied greatly and were living under Egyptian rule. The Pharaoh, fearing their growing numbers and potential influence, ordered harsh measures against them, including a decree that Hebrew newborn boys should be killed. To save her child, Moses' mother, Jochebed, hid him for 3 months before placing him in a basket made of reeds and setting it afloat on the Nile River. This desperate yet hopeful act would change the course of history. The infant was discovered by Pharaoh's daughter, who took pity on him and decided to raise him in the royal household. Growing up in the palace, Moses received an education and privileges that few Israelites could imagine. Yet he remained aware of his Hebrew identity and the suffering of his people. This unique upbringing placed him between two worlds, the power and culture of Egyptian society and the oppressed community of the Israelites. According to tradition, Moses became known for his sense of justice and compassion for the oppressed. As a young man, Moses witnessed the harsh treatment of Hebrew laborers by Egyptian overseers. One day, seeing an Egyptian beating a Hebrew slave, Moses intervened and killed the Egyptian. Realizing the consequences of his action, he fled Egypt and sought refuge in the land of Midian, a region located in the desert. There he encountered the priest Jethro and eventually married Jethro's daughter, Zipporah. Moses began a new life as a shepherd, living in humility and relative obscurity for many years. It was during this quiet period that one of the most extraordinary moments of his life occurred. While tending his flock near Mount Horeb, also known as Mount Sinai, Moses noticed a strange sight, a bush that was burning with fire but was not consumed by the flames. As he approached the bush, he heard the voice of God calling his name. The voice instructed him to remove his sandals because he was standing on holy ground. Through this encounter, God revealed himself as the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and called Moses to return to Egypt and lead the Israelites out of slavery. At first, Moses doubted his ability to accomplish such a mission. He expressed fear and hesitation, questioning his own leadership and speaking abilities. In response, God reassured him that he would not be alone and appointed his brother Aaron to assist him. With renewed confidence and faith, Moses accepted the mission and returned to Egypt to confront Pharaoh. Moses and Aaron demanded that Pharaoh allow the Israelites to leave Egypt. Pharaoh refused, leading to a series of dramatic events known as the 10 Plagues of Egypt. According to biblical accounts, these plagues demonstrated divine power and served as warnings urging Pharaoh to release the Israelites. Eventually, after the devastating final plague, Pharaoh allowed them to depart. The departure of the Israelites from Egypt is known as the Exodus and remains one of the most powerful stories of liberation in religious history. However, soon after their departure, Pharaoh changed his mind and pursued them with his army. The Israelites found themselves trapped between the advancing Egyptian forces and the waters of the Red Sea. In one of the most dramatic moments in sacred history, the waters parted, allowing the Israelites to cross safely on dry ground. When the Egyptian army attempted to follow, the waters returned, ensuring the freedom of the people. Following their escape, Moses led the Israelites through the wilderness toward the land promised to their ancestors. This journey through the desert lasted many years and tested the faith and perseverance of the people. During this time, Moses served not only as a political leader but also as a spiritual guide who helped shape the identity of the Israelites as a people devoted to God. One of the most significant moments during this journey occurred at Mount Sinai. According to the biblical narrative, the mountain was covered with clouds, thunder, and fire as God revealed his commandments to Moses. Moses ascended the mountain and remained there for 40 days and 40 nights. During this time he received the 10 Commandments, divine laws written on stone tablets that established the moral and spiritual foundation of the Israelite community. The 10 Commandments emphasized principles such as honoring God, respecting parents, valuing human life, speaking truthfully, and living with integrity. These teachings have influenced moral traditions throughout the world and remain among the most widely known ethical guidelines in human history. Despite the challenges of leading a large and often restless community through the desert, Moses remained committed to his mission. He organized the people, resolved disputes, and encouraged them to remain faithful to the covenant with God. There were moments of doubt and frustration among the Israelites, yet Moses continued to guide them with patience and determination. One remarkable aspect of Moses' leadership was his humility. Despite being chosen for such an extraordinary role, he remained aware that the mission belonged ultimately to God. His prayers, intercession, and guidance helped the people overcome numerous obstacles during their long journey through the wilderness. Near the end of his life, Moses was granted a view of the promised land from a mountain. Although he had guided the Israelites for many years, he did not enter the land himself. Instead, the responsibility of leading the people into their new homeland passed to his successor, Joshua. Moses' mission had been to prepare the people for their future and establish the spiritual foundation that would guide them for generations. The legacy of Moses extends far beyond his lifetime. His story represents faith in the face of uncertainty, courage in the pursuit of justice, and devotion to a higher calling. He is remembered not only as a historical leader but also as a symbol of liberation, law, and spiritual guidance. Across religious traditions, Moses continues to be honored as a figure who stood between God and humanity, bringing divine teachings that shaped the spiritual and moral development of entire civilizations. His life reminds us that leadership often requires sacrifice, patience, and unwavering faith. Perhaps the most powerful lesson from Moses' life is that true leadership is not about personal glory but about guiding others toward a better future. Moses dedicated his life to a mission larger than himself, trusting that the path he helped create would continue long after he was gone. Through perseverance, faith, and courage, Moses helped shape a story that continues to influence humanity thousands of years later. Thanks for watching.